I'm Dr. Marvin Dunn, retired professor of psychology from FIU and president of the Miami Center for Racial Justice. Well, we moved to Miami from Central Florida in 1951, and I think my dad was a union member probably by the mid-1950s, 55, 56. By the time I went away to college, he had been a longshoreman for a couple of years. My father was a fruit picker from Central Florida before we moved here. He had 5 sons and no daughters. My dad and my mom and my brothers and I went up on the season, as they call it, when you go up and pick vegetables and come back home. So we were migrants for the first few years of my life. In 1951, my dad, having gone on the season 3 years, was able to save enough money to buy a home in Bunch Park, which is in Opelika, and this was a new black community for black veterans. And we moved in June of 1951. The first job that my dad had was as a truck driver for a feed store. And he began to do a little part-time work at the union, at the Port of Miami, just as a pickup laborer. Did not have a card. And then after, it must have been a year or 2 or 3, my dad got a union card and became a member of this local. And our life changed after that. My dad had a check that came in every 2 weeks, and he knew how much it was going to be. He had insurance, health insurance. He was getting a pension, which in the end, my father passed away before my mother did, and my mom in her 90s lived with me. But the longshoreman took care of my mother. That check came as regularly as you would want it to, and I was able to meet her needs as her caretaker because my dad had become a member of that union some 40 years earlier. It raised us from a migrant family to the middle class.